The 24 Hours of Daytona is brought to you by BF Goodrich TA Radials, makers of the world's most complete line of high-performance car and truck radials, built for you to take on the road. And by Dodge, a performance revolution, an American revolution. And by Champion, nothing sparks like a champion. And by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you.
The most dramatic race in the history of the 24 Hours of Daytona. That's what it's culminating in right now. 3 cars within 1 lap of each other. I'm Ken Squire. This is David Hobbs. And David, I know how much you'd like to be out there involved in this one as we get down to it. It was 1971 when last we had a close one here, and that was 1 lap. That was the year when the Pedro Rodriguez car, Jackie Oliver, the Porsche 917, defeated the Ferrari by a single lap about, I think it was a 3.8-mile course at that time. Well, now we have 3 cars contending for the lead.
Well, it certainly has turned into a bit of a knockdown, drag-out affair for a 24-hour race, and I'm sure that all these drivers will be jolly glad when they see that checkered flag come up at 3:30, because this is not what you want to be doing in a 24-hour race. Well, here is the man of this hour, the final hour. What a dramatic turnaround for him after the problems that they have been having in the past year and the past years. Al Holbert is aboard his own Porsche 962, and he is out in front. The second place car is now being shown as the Jim Busby car. There you are riding with that Busby car. Derek Warwick is at the controls at this moment for Jim Busby, who's put this team together. One of his cars was destroyed this morning in a horrendous wreck. Jan Lammers is all right after that crash. And the third place car is the Preston Hen, the defending champion, A.J. Foyt car. That one has fallen back some. Danny Sullivan, a co-driving on that machine. Here you are with Derek Warwick as we bring you live coverage in this final hour. And that Vision Group camera's been with us the entire 24 hours. We had some dramatic pictures during the night. And here they are holding on for second place, just a lap down to the leaders. Well, just as he comes up to this point here, this car's reaching just close on 200 miles an hour as it goes over that stripe. And you can just imagine the wear and tear on the brakes and transmissions as he hauls that car down to turn 1, which is really a pretty slow turn. You're looking at maybe 60 miles an hour through all 5 gears down into first, and then a violent acceleration up to turn 2. And this is a very tough course on the equipment, as we've seen from the attrition. Only 19 cars left. Jim Busby, a man who came to sports car racing thanks to TV star Dick Smothers, who introduced him to it back when he was a drag racer, and he's really taken to it well. They've never won this race. Busby's car was a 3rd place finisher here a year ago. Then they had a 1st and 2nd place finish at Riverside, California. Their 2nd place right now is the best they have done in this 24-hour race. They have led 3 times in the course of the event, or rather the car number 14 has led. This car led a considerable amount of time during the night, and now they find themselves in 2nd place and squaring off to go after the leader. And our leaderboard at the moment shows in the lead there Holbert, Bell and Al Unser Jr. number 14. Second is that Busby, Brassfield, Warwick, Jochen Mascar. They've all had a go at driving that number 67. Third is A.J. Foyt, Danny Sullivan, Arie Luyendyk. And fourth, of course, overall is the first GTO car driven by Bruce Jenner and Scott Pruitt, who's put up a magnificent performance in his first real season of this type of racing. Klaus Ludwig, who was the 3rd driver, I believe he's already left the track to fly back to Europe. The car that's leading in GTO, the red numbering here in the graphics, and he won't even be around for the finish, the word is. I thought I saw him at the hotel this morning. I nearly asked him what had happened to the car. We have a fire in the infield. That has been part of the regular business of this race. Someone overzealous with their lunch, and that looks like it could be a more serious problem than some we've had today. Well, we've had some serious problems. We've had some fairly light moments in this race as usual, and of course, unfortunately, all these 24-hour races are kind of a lady luck draw. It really is the luck of the draw, and every one of these cars that's leading on this lead lap has had some sort of a major problem, and they've all relatively luckily got away with it. One of our real highline cars came in and was out, completely out, in 6 laps with a distributor failure. I mean, a $250,000 car is out because the distributor rotor broke, and that's the sort of thing that can happen in 24 hours. This car number 14 at one time was 124 miles down. GTO leader Stahl, that's the Brenner car, and they're bringing the Bruce Jenner car back now. Now that could be a disaster for them. They have a pretty substantial lead in their class, so they can afford to hang around for quite a long time. They're reporting a severe oil leak on that car, and I believe Scott Pruitt, the former champion of go-karts, was at the controls at the time. Well, they're going to have to try and get that car. I don't think they have enough lead that they can just sit out the last 40 minutes of this race.
We are down to the final moments of this race. The battle is all up front of the prototypes, and it is 962. That's the number for Porsche that continues to dominate. First, second, and third. Let's go to the STP Pit Center. Here's Dave Despain.
Let's see if we can't help you who have just joined us for this the final moments of this great race to put all this talk of classes and cars into perspective a little bit. Those three cars that are running up front, as we've mentioned, $250,000, custom built for racing prototypes, wide open, space age technology, anything goes. They're called GTP cars. There's another division here. It's new in this form of racing. They're called Camel Lights, and these are the Camel Light standings. These two are GT cars, wide open racers, but they have a weight limit. They are, in effect, smaller versions of the big, wide open racers. It's a fast-growing class. Head of the class right now, Frank Rubino, Ray Mummery, and John Schneider, and they have moved that car up to 7th in the overall standings. They are 104 laps behind the leaders. Those are the kind of intervals we think of in endurance competition, but we'll get to the fact that we have three cars within a lap or two up front. Right now, the story here, Rubino, Mummery, and Schneider. We have, I believe, one of those lead trio coming on pit road. One of the leaders, the 67 car, is coming on pit road,
Dave?
And that would seem to be the story that supersedes this one.
Dave, that's number 67. The BF Goodrich car is on pit road. The third place automobile, Derek Warwick, has been driving.
I think there's Derek Warwick getting out. I think they changed drivers. I would have thought that was kind of unnecessary at this stage of the game with only just 40 minutes to go.
Here they are. That's a 17-man crew to maintain those two cars. And what a dandy job they've done. New second place, maybe car number 8, the Preston Hen car, defending champions and two-time winners of the 24 hours. AJ and Sullivan done a great job with that car and keeping it up there throughout this, as well as Arie Luyendyk, the Indy Rookie of the Year. Let's go back to Dave Despain.
Let's look at another of our divisions of competition here as one of those GTP prototypes up front has trouble. GTU, these are small engine sports cars. The Mazda RX-7, the dominant brand here. And the dominant drivers, old familiar hands in Daytona. They've excelled in this race. They had to change the transmission. They're still sitting at the top of the heap. Dennis Shaw, Amos Johnson, and Jack Dunham leading their division over the Reed, Hogdahl, Kendall, and Rinsler entry, 8th in the overall standings, and 110 laps behind the front-running car in the overall standings. We go over here to GTO, story changing even as we speak. These guys, Bruce Jenner, the Olympian, Scott Pruitt, who's turned in such a great drive, Klaus Ludwig, the international star. Oil leak in the final hour. Here's your new leader. It's car number 64. The guys who have emerged to surprise are Lanny Hester, Maurice Hasse, and Lee Mueller. That's a Ford Mustang. They've been the guys that have dominated in that GTO division. Those are the big engine American Thunder cars. Here's your GTP battle. What a story. 3 Porsche 962s, all that remain of a fleet of 9 that came here to dominate this race to try to win it for the 9th year in a row for the German brand. 6 of them have failed. These 3 are still at the top of the heap. They're in a dogfight. They have pulled out all the stops. They've cranked up the boost, wound in all the horsepower, and like sprinters headed for that finish line tape, they're trying to decide it in the last few minutes of this 24-hour battle. Let's go to the leader's pit right now, Jerry Garrett.
Well, Dave, we're going to have one final bit of drama here on pit road in the last half hour of this race. Al Holbert is going to come in unexpectedly for one more fuel stop. I think maybe they're just going to be on the safe side.
Oh,
Let's go to Chris Economaki.
okay, you're looking at Derek Warwick. Until a few moments ago, the second place driver. His number 67 BFG Porsche has a broken seat. It's rattling around in the car. They've wedged it in position with driver's jackets. You can see the jackets hanging on the wall back there. Warwick got out of the car and he lay down on the pit wall. He said, I just couldn't go any faster. It's murder. And you can see he's been out of the car 3 or 4 minutes now, and he is exhausted. AJ Foyt, battling this car for second place, is still out there, but his car has a sticking throttle. All 3 lead Porsches are crippled. The number 14 car has a broken front sway bar. The number 67 car, a broken seat, and the number 8 car, a sticking throttle. It's been a tough day for these Porsches.
3 magnificent teams, 3 crippled cars. Charge, stumble, if you will, toward the finish line. You'll see the finish live here on TBS Sports. Stay tuned for the conclusion of the 20.